Welcome to Good Vibes TV. I'm your host, Leslie Klein, here to explore ways to raise your vibration so you can thrive. In this episode, my guest is Lynda Sunshine West. She ran away at 5 years old and was gone an entire week. She came home riddled with fears and in turn became a people pleaser. At age 51, she decided to face one fear a day for an entire year. And she uses what she's learned during that time to fulfill her mission of empowering 5 million women and men to write their stories. Lynda Sunshine West is the founder and CEO of Action Takers Publishing. She's a speaker and 16 times #1 international best-selling author. Coming to us from California, please welcome Lynda Sunshine West. Lynda, welcome.
Hello. It's good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to dive right in.
Yes. Well, your mission to have 5 million people, where did that come from? I mean, that's such a noble and ambitious mission. Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, first of all, the number 5 is my favorite number. And so when I was coming up with, they tell us when you want to manifest, you have to be very specific as to what you're manifesting into your life. And so I said, okay, I'm going to come up with a number that I want to, empower, by writing their story. And I came up with the number 50,000. Well, then I remembered, Grant Cardone says 10x it, 10x it. So I 10x'd it, but I accidentally 100x'd it to 5 million. So it was supposed to be 500,000. So I said, okay, I 100x'd it on accident, but maybe that wasn't an accident. Maybe that is what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's how that number came about. And I just love this mission to impact people's lives and empower them. It's all about empowering people with tools. And I share just briefly why that is important to me, because I felt disempowered for the first 51 years of my life, as Leslie shared in my bio. I ran away when I was 5 years old. I was gone for a week. And just so you know, I only went to the neighbor's house. So I was safe. But for all intents and purposes, that little 5-year-old, something really locked in tight in my brain. And that was that nobody wants me. They don't love me. They didn't want me around because nobody came to get me. What I didn't know is my mom knew where I was. She knew I was safe. But my 5-year-old didn't know that. So I had this belief that was, locked in tight, that they don't love me, they don't want me around. And I carried that belief around with me for decades until about age 51, where I started to step into this personal development world. And I started to realize that, she was probably my mom. My mom has passed, so I can't ask her. So I've decided to change the narrative. I decided to change my story. And my story is that my mom was letting me exercise my ability for independence. And that right there helped me to move into a place of empowering myself and also realizing that I can change the narrative of my own life at any moment. And that's what I've been doing, for the last, it's been like eight years now. It's been incredible.
And when you say changing the narrative, how does it relate to, being a book publisher and publishing the 16 books that you've written yourself?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Talk about journeys. The journey starts with the first step. And so that first 51 years, I really didn't do a whole lot with my life. I was an employee and I had 49 jobs in 36 years in the corporate world. And then I jumped into entrepreneurship at age 51, and it really started to transform my life. And I started to jumping into all these different types of things because I was like, I got to figure out, who am I? What am I all about? What do I want to do? I had been a people pleaser for decades, and I had done everything in my life for others, not for myself. And so as I was embarking on this journey and trying to figure out, who am I? What am I all about? What kind of business can I run? How can I make money? And all these different things. It took 7 years of exploring, of diving in, of opportunities and learning and being open-minded. 7 years of all of that to be able to shift my mindset from one of lack to one of abundance, to be able to shift my mindset of, I don't know if I deserve this, to, hell yeah, I deserve this. And the book publishing, I actually started doing that in 2017. I started doing the book publishing. And how that came about was that in 2015, I was breaking through one fear every single day that year. I had worked with a life coach prior to that, and I loved the positive movements that I was making in my life. And then January 1st of 2015, I woke up and I said, I gotta keep going. Like, I'm loving these positive changes. You know what? I have so many fears. I'm going to break through a fear every day this year. So I embarked on this journey of 365 days in a row to break through fears. And that was in 2015. And during that year, I ended up meeting somebody who became my mentor, and he was writing a book, and he invited me to be in that book. It was called Footsteps of the Fearless. I was breaking through a fear every day, so he felt it was appropriate for me to be in his book called Footsteps of the Fearless, a collaboration book, an anthology book. And I jumped in, not knowing what I was doing or why I was doing it. I was scared to do it, but I did it. And I'm so glad I did, because that was the initial step that I needed to take to open a huge door that was waiting to be opened for me. So after that, I ended up writing my solo book called The Year of Fears, where I share the lessons that I learned during that year of breaking through fears. And then at the end of that, I said, oh my gosh, I wrote a book. I was in a book. I wrote a book. What's my next natural state of progression? I'm going to start putting together my own books. Now, that might not be everybody's next natural state of progression, but it was my next natural state of progression. And I embarked on that journey of starting to put together anthology books. And here we are, several years later, and we've, I myself have become a number one, 16 times number one, international best-selling author, soon to be 17 next month. And it's just incredible because, once we put our feet to, the foot to the fire and we just keep moving forward, you just don't know what's going to happen. The future is undetermined. It is undetermined.
That's right. I guess empowerment and taking back your power and realizing that we create our reality through our thoughts. That mindset is so important. Attitude is so important. And what really stops us are the fears. That's the block. And whether you're going to go push through that fear and, feel the fear and do it anyway, or make that let that be a limitation in your life. So that's, I guess, the difference between, really courageous living. I mean, it takes courage to say, hey, I'm going to feel that fear and do it anyway.
I'd love to share a different perspective on that, if I may.
Sure.
And the feel the fear and do it anyway. I found that to be disempowering. Actually, it's, to me, that terminology I found that to be disempowering. And so I wanted to come up with a way that I could, blast through fear and realize that it was actually a good thing. And what I recognized is, during that year, one of the things I truly really recognized is that the vast majority of time, probably 98% of those fears that I broke through that year, I felt proud of myself for doing it after it was done, and or the result that I got from breaking through that fear was way better than I imagined, because fear is imagined. So I imagined all these things might happen, but what ended up happening was actually great stuff. And so I came up with my new thing is to do it because I'm scared. Why would I prevent myself from being proud of myself? Why would I prevent myself from having that great result that's waiting for me on the other side? And so, again, an empowerment, right? It's an empowerment tool that, it's fear. Yay. I'm going to do this because I'm scared.
Because I'm scared. I love that. I'm going to do this because I'm scared.
Yeah.
So that's the attitude that you have to go through, as opposed to saying, I'm going to feel the fear because it's scary.
Right, exactly. And another thing I came up with, I came up with a lot of different acronyms, I came up with 750 quotes that year.
Goodness. Did you write a book on those?
I haven't. And somebody asked me that the other day. I'm like, I just never thought about it,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so definitely. But one of the things I came up with also is I realized that, when I had fear, when my fear was really strong, my faith was weak. And so I came up with this new acronym. And one of the things that we hear a lot is, fear is false evidence appearing real. I've also heard face everything and run, or I've heard face everything and rise. These are some of the acronyms. And as I was brushing my teeth one day, it was about 6 months into breaking through those fears, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, false evidence appearing real, false evidence appearing real. That's a bunch of BS. My fears don't appear real to me. They are real as real can be. And there's no false evidence here at all. And so I decided to come up with my own acronym, and I came up with faith erases anxious reactions. Because when our faith is strong, our fear is weakened. Sometimes when our faith is strong, our fear has actually disappeared. And so when I'm experiencing fearful moments, not only do I do it because I'm scared, but I also like to ask myself, how strong is my faith right now? My fear is strong. This means my faith is weak. So how can I, tap into that faith? And that's faith in myself. That's faith in others. So my surroundings, my mentors, my coaches, those people in my circle, the ones who support me, uplift me, not the ones who bring me down, but those people who really believe in me. And then my faith in God, higher power, whatever you believe in. Like mine is, I believe in God. And so I tap into all of those and I say, okay, cool, I'm going to go do this now because I'm scared. And it really has helped me to blast through fears. I still experience fear. I'm human, but now I approach it differently. I embrace fear now. It's changed my life.
Yeah. That is so inspiring, really. So we're going to take a short break right now. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about faith and how that fear and faith are related. And when your fear is high, the faith is low. So that means put some attention to the faith to get the fear going. So when we come back, we'll talk more about that. Welcome back to Good Vibes TV. I'm your host, Leslie Klein, here today with Lynda Sunshine West, CEO of Action Takers Publishing. And let me bring her back. Lynda, there you are. So we were talking about your change of the acronym FEAR to faith erases anxious reactions. I love that. And you were talking about how you embrace fear now, that it's not something to run away from. So in the scale, and I like to use Dr. David R. Hawkins' scale map of consciousness that talks about vibrations, the lower vibrations, fear and shame and all these. And then you get to 200 and that's like courage. And then you break through into what I call the good vibe zones, the higher vibration zones of love and peace and happiness. So the fears are down here. And when we I kind of see it as like transmuting that fear, changing that, and it's all energy. So changing that what's perceived as a negative energy or fear, I guess if it blocks us, and it's just fear is a lower vibration. So what kind of techniques or things do you do you just say those words, faith erases, anxious reactions, or what do you do to kind of shift your mindset to be able to embrace that fear?
I love this question because, there's many things I've done. When you're doing it every day for a year, you come up with different techniques. So I came up with different techniques at different stages. One of the very first things I did is I changed my words, my language. And anytime I would say like, I'm afraid, I would say, oh, no, I'm not afraid. I'm excited. Anytime I would say I'm scared, I was like, no, I'm not scared. I'm excited. I'm feeling anxious. No, I'm excited. I replaced all of those words that we come up with that have to do with fear, whatever those words are. I replaced every single one of them with excited, exciting, excite. That became my word. So you'll often, if you go back and watch any of my videos, I've done over 5,000 videos, so it's too many to watch. But if you were to watch any of them, you'll probably hear me say the word I'm excited at least once. And that's why, because I use that as my new language. Exciting is a positive emotion that we have. It's a positive feeling that we have. It helps us to create that higher vibration. And so scarcity, scared, afraid, and all those things they cause us to like retract, right? And so by using just that one simple thing right there is one of the things that helped me at the beginning. I have other techniques. I'll share with you my 7 steps to break through fear. It works. It works. It's amazing. This one, I'll just share an example of it. I'll use a scenario. Let's say somebody invited you to, like, let's say Leslie reached out to you and she said, hey, I'd love to have you on Good Vibes TV. And you're a little bit apprehensive about it. You're scared about it because you've never been interviewed before. Why is she reaching out to me? And then suddenly you're having this imposter syndrome is showing up, or you're having fears in some different way. You're not sure what the fear is or what have you. When we recognize we're experiencing something, in this instance, fear, when we recognize that we're experiencing a fearful moment, this is when we can take action. Sometimes the action is inaction, is to not do anything. And that's because we realize that, okay, a bear is chasing me. I need to make sure I do the right thing here. But here we're not talking about a bear. We're talking about Leslie interviewing you on Good Vibes TV. So how we move through this, I created this 7-step process. It's a very simple process. It's something that used to take me maybe 4 or 5 minutes to get through. And now I can get through it instantly because I've done it so many times. And I do tap into it all the time. It's an incredible process. So the process goes like this. We ask ourselves a question. And why we ask a question is because when we ask our brain a question, it's searching for the answer. So this is the very first thing. The question goes like this. We would say, if I, and then blank. What is the fear you're experiencing right now? So in this example, if I were to be interviewed on Good Vibes TV today, will this adversely affect my life 1 year from today? So the key pieces here is, like in this instance, you have to start at 1 year. The reason is because we want to move our emotions, this energy, it is energy, fear is energy. We want to move that energy into more of like a logical state of mind. And the reality is that if I were to be interviewed on Leslie's show right now, it will not adversely affect my life 1 year from today. So that's question is, if I get interviewed on Leslie's show right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 year from today? The word adversely. This is another key word here because the word adversely means negatively. Yes, it can positively impact my life a year from today, but will it negatively impact my life a year from today? Most likely the answer is going to be no. So we've asked that question. Now what we do, we answer the question no. If I get interviewed by Leslie on her show today, will it adversely affect my life 6 months from today? So now what we're taking the whole entire question and we're just breaking it down to different chunks. We go 1 year, 6 months, 1 month, 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour, and now. If Leslie were to interview me on her show right now, will it adversely impact my life or affect my life right now? Now the answer might be yes to that. But guess what? You know realistically that in a year it's not going to. In 3 months or 6 months or 1 month or 1 week, all of those, it's not going to adversely affect your life. So go do it because you're scared. Because you know that by being interviewed on her show, there's some positive thing that's going to come out of it. You're proud of yourself that, oh my God, I did it. I said yes and I did it. I got up there. I made some mistakes, but I did it. Right? And then it could be that, oh my gosh, that opened a door to something else that I didn't even know was out there. So go do it because you're scared. Those 7 steps have helped me so much.
I love it. So the 7 steps are, it's all those 7, the questions going from 1 year to 1 month to 6 months to, those are the steps.
Right. Yes. It's 1 year,
Okay.
6 months. And then we go to 1 month, 1 week, 1 day,
Okay.
1 hour, and right now.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's going to adversely affect your life in a year, you might want to rethink it and not do it, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of desensitizes you.
Exactly. And it moves us into logic, because logic makes sense to us. Whereas if we're in that emotional, that negative emotion, we need to move into logic so we can, you know, step into reality and say, you know what, this is not going to adversely affect my life. I'm going to go do it. The results that I got from doing that for a year have been astronomical. Every single thing I'm doing today is a result of me doing that year. Every single thing.
Wow.
Everything.
And that was 2015?
2015,
the year
yeah.
that you face a fear, one fear a day.
One fear a day for a whole year.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And it's so true when we do, like, for instance, one of the reasons, or one of the ways I found you was we were both in this One Habit book.
Right.
Endless. And doing that book was the first time I ever, you know, wrote in a book. You know, it was just the one chapter, but still that was such a confidence builder and credibility builder. And, you know, then that, like you said, opened doors. You know, a book is like a business card, kind of, you know, the power of having a book and telling your story is so life-changing. So talk a little bit about that, because I know we're going to talk about more about how you help people is getting them to write their story, whether it's one chapter in a book or a whole book. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, this is it's something that I never believed in, you know, until it happened. You know, a lot of times we don't believe in things until they happen to us or for us. And when I ended up writing my book, The Year of Fears, I only wrote that book because my mentor told me to, by the way. It wasn't anything I ever thought of doing. I'm not a writer. I've always been, you know, said that my whole life. I'm not a writer. Who wants to read my story? And I said that to him, and he goes, you don't understand. There are people out there who have fears, and you have broken through a fear every day. Imagine that if somebody reads your book and you can impact their lives. And I was like, who wants to read me? I'm nobody, you know, and that was what was going through my mind. But he said, you just go ahead and do it. So I ended up writing the book. It took me a year and a half. I started it over and over and over again for a year and a half. And then I was taught a technique to be able to finish it. So then I was able to start it and finish it in a week. I started it over again and finished it in a week. I published it the next week. I was doing all this myself. I had no idea what I was doing. But 3 months after I published the book, I was attending an event, and this woman came running over to me, yelling my name, Lynda Sunshine, Lynda Sunshine. And she's waving my book in her hand. She's like, oh my gosh, so amazing. I got your book, The Year of Fears. I read through the first 14 pages and I already broke through 5 fears. And I said, that's why I wrote the book. I had no idea. It was for somebody else. It wasn't for me. It was for her. And so I realized that, you know, sharing our story is very important. How many other people read my book that have been impacted in that way who just didn't tell me?
Right.
You know, so it was that journey was so incredible because it enabled me to see the value, the importance of sharing our story. So like you, Leslie, you had the same experience. Many people, when they're in our books, we have so far published 270 authors, which is awesome. And it's through these collaboration books. You know, Leslie is in this one, Wellness for Winners. It's an amazing, amazing book, compilation of stories talking about wellness. But what's happened is I'm noticing that the vast majority of the people who are joining these books are first-time authors. And it's really that push to get their foot in the door, to see what it's like, to see what the journey is like. And then they're being inspired to write their own books. So it's just such a beautiful, beautiful journey. And tell me if this happened for you, Leslie, is by sharing your story, has it impacted you in any way? Like maybe there was some healing that has happened or just any epiphanies that you've had through sharing your own story?
Well, it causes you to reflect on your life, like going within and really saying, what message do I have that can really help someone else or help the world, right? So it really caused me to really reflect. But then I had to trust that whatever I got, don't judge it, just like let it flow. So, so it was, but it was a confidence builder, that first book and doing that first chapter, and then another, and I don't have intentions to be 16 times international bestseller.
Neither did I.
I'm happy where I'm at. I mean, and I guess that's maybe not a good thing because I'm in my comfort zone, but I do want to focus on doing the Good Vibes TV and putting out my message through a video, through video and through this show and network. So that's where I've been focusing, but it's just so interesting because you talked about narrative in the beginning and how you changed your narrative and how changing your words, and, words are energy. Any story, everything is energy, but the thought energy, we capture it with words. And then when you put those words in a book, I mean, it's just like, I love journaling. When you're journaling, you're putting those thoughts down on paper. You're making it real. You're taking it from the air to physical. So it's really magical, that process, that we don't necessarily think of it that way, and doing journaling and really writing a book is kind of like a journal. You're writing those thoughts and you're crafting those words and trying to portray that perfect energy of what you really mean in the words you use. So it's really a magical process.
It's empowering.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wanted to share just one of the stories, in the Wellness for Winners book. One of the women in the book, she says, "I'm just a housewife. Like, who wants to read my story?" So what happened, she decided to go ahead and do it. And she shared her story. And what we do is, on the launch day of the books, we schedule all these interviews to happen. And it's a lot of fun. It's like fast moving, fast paced. And here we are, becoming this #1 international best-selling book. And it's so fun. And what ended up happening for her is, she's like, I'm way out of my comfort zone doing any of this. She signed up for all the interviews that we scheduled. I think for that book, we had like 5 or 6 interviews scheduled. So she signed up for every single one of them, out of her comfort zone big time, but doing something that she thought might be interesting, And then while she was, some of the interviews were being hosted, people were reaching out to her and saying, "Hey, can we interview you on our platform?" So she started getting interviewed on other platforms also, because she was finally putting herself out there. And then she decided, I'm going to do a book signing. So here's this woman who says, "I'm just a housewife. Who wants to read my story?" Who has now really fully blossomed into this person who has, this belief in her story and knows the impact that it's making, because people are reaching out to her and asking her if she will participate in their own podcast interviews or summits and things like that. It's been incredible, the journey that will happen if you allow yourself to be open to it.
Absolutely. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about how people can work with you and write their first book. Welcome back to Good Vibes TV. I'm Leslie Klein, here interviewing book publisher and 16 times international best-selling author, Lynda Sunshine West. Lynda, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh, yes. We're not finished yet. So what I like to do now is learn more about Action Takers Publishing and how someone can, what the process is like of they want to write a book. I know you have anthologies, they have themes, you also have some courses. So, and also you mentioned the launch process, and I love that too, because that was so fun doing that and the interviews and just the community of that book. It's beautiful networking, and I've made connections and still doing collaborations with these people in these different books, and it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for me, it's a blast because one of my essence words when I was working with my life coach back in 2014, she walked me through this process so that I could learn, like, what's my essence? What am I all about? And one of my essence words is community, and it's about building community. So when it came time to do the books, doing the collaborative type of books, bringing people together, I was like, I get to build community with every single book. I mean, how cool is that? Then I decided that I want to build bigger community. So each book, we invite them all into the same community. So we have more people to create this large community out of. And I want to share with you that there's something that sets us apart. So I want to start with this, like, what sets us apart from other collaboration books? So if you're listening to this right now and you've been in different, collaboration anthology books, you have a preconceived idea of what it means to be in that because you have been in it. Well, you have a conceived idea, not preconceived, because you've been in it. But I want to share with you that we're doing something completely different. We are blowing the lid off of this affiliate book, process. Because one thing I recognize, I myself have been in several books. I've been in several different anthologies. And one of the things I recognize is that the vast majority of us in the books first of all, we don't make any money. There might be some books that you do, but I haven't seen it myself. And then we don't get as many accolades as the people putting on the book. So I'm like, how can I give as much back to my authors as possible? And so this is really important for me to figure this out. And it took me a year to figure it out, but we've got it figured out. So one of the things we're doing is each of our books, going forward, each of our books will have a course attached to it. And what we're doing is we're making it so that our authors can not only make their own money back, because there's an investment to work with us. They not only can make their money back, but they can make more than that. Because what we're going to do is we're going to drive people to you. We're going to drive people to work with you. This was important to me because I myself was missing this. And, in business, if we look at things and we say, this is what I don't like, this is what I do like, do more of what we do like, and then see how we can change what we don't like. This was something I didn't like. And this is what I hear so many times, time and time again, from different people who have been in anthology books. So what I love about the anthology books, again, is you're bringing people together. There's a theme. Each book has a theme. Like one of the ones we're working on, I'll share with you, it's called Action Takers Who Get Shit Done. This is no more excuses. And we want you to share with us the different tools, tips, techniques that you use in order to get shit done in your life, in your business. We have different pillars that work on that. But this is just one of the many books that we're putting together. We're currently working on 10 different books. But what I really want to talk about today is our courses, because this is something that you can dive into. You have a book inside of you. Every single one of us does. Once you share that one book, you'll see that, I have a lot more books inside of me, which is really cool because it opens that door. Again, it just opens that door to possibilities and puts you out there on the path to the success that you're looking for in your life. And sometimes you got to open that book door. Like Leslie said earlier, see, the books are the best business card in the world. And here's why. If I hand you a business card, or if I give you a digital business card, because a lot of people are doing those digital business cards now, what happens? Well, with a business card, it may sit on your desk for a day. It may sit in like in your shelf or something like that for a day or two, or maybe a week or a month. But how often are you going to pick up that business card and say, this is so awesome? Well, a book, people will pick up your book, they'll open up the pages, they will read your story. And then what's going to happen is they'll put it on their bookshelf. So every time they walk by their bookshelf and they see your book, subconsciously that goes into their mind. And also, some people will give your book away to somebody else. So now your book is impacting other people's lives. Your business card will never impact people's lives, but your book can do that. So this is one thing I love about books, is that having that opportunity to be able to connect with people on a greater level. Your story is in your book. So this is another opportunity to connect. I like to say it's our relation points that create our relationships. It's those relation points by telling our story that we connect with other people. Now, if they read something in your book, in your chapter, if you're working with us on one of our anthologies, if they read something that connects with them, they're more likely to reach out to you than if they don't. So this is an opportunity for you to share who you are, what you're all about, share your story, share, ways that they can do things in their lives, help them out. Like with the Get Shit Done book, that one there, it's all about helping people. That's all of our books. All of our books are intended to inspire and motivate people to take action to live the life they truly want to live. That's all the books that we publish. So even if we do solo authors, that's very important to us. So just the courses, let's just touch on that really briefly, is, realize that there's so many people out there, they don't know where to start. Where do I start to write my book? How do I start? What do I write my book about? So we ended up coming up with 3 courses. One is how to write your book the fast, fun, and easy way, because fast, fun, and easy, that's what all of our clients tell us. You guys made it fast, fun, and easy. And so we decided to create the course around that. So how to write your book the fast, fun, and easy way, how to publish your book the fast, fun, and easy way, and how to market and monetize your book the fast, fun, and easy way. And Leslie has a link that you can click on to go ahead and join that. If you're looking to share your story and you want to know, how do I write it? How do I publish it? How do I market and monetize it? So we'd love to have you join us in any of those aspects, just to get your story out there into the world, to make the greater impact that you are meant to make.
I love that. And what you're also doing is when they go to the good-vibes.tv website, there'll be a link there that says write a book. And when you sign up, you want to use the code goodvibestv, all caps, all together, goodvibestv, for 10% off. And so is that 10% off of the courses and publishing books?
Yeah, that's 10% off in our marketplace. So anything else, because we do have other small things that we're selling, like a $7 item. But yeah, anything that we have in our marketplace, you'll get 10% off by using that code goodvibestv.
Beautiful. So again, it's just good-vibes.tv is the website. Thank you so much for that. That's so awesome.
You're welcome. I just loved it. I really want people to share their story, whether it's with us or it's somebody else or they're self-publishing. I just want them to get their stories out there to make that impact on the planet.
Right. But really, in working with you with the Wellness for Winners book, it was so much fun doing the launch and the excitement building, because we kind of saw ourselves become international best-selling authors, and it was several different categories too. So it was like watching a race,
That's the fun part of it, right? Because we got fast, fun, and easy, and that's really that fun part of it, is to create that experience. We want people to experience the books, not just. We don't want you to just write your story and be done. We want you to experience what we're working on. Is that those experiences are important for me, and that's why the fun piece is in there. Fast, fun, and easy. So I grew up in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household, and that's why I ran away at 5. It was a lot of abuse going on there. And at 51, I hired my life coach, and then I was starting to grow and morph and become this this person that I really was meant to be. And I was putting on a bunch of events. I put on over 100 events myself, and I was up there speaking. I was scared, but I was doing it. I was excited, and I was doing it. And I was up there speaking, and out of my mouth came these words. I just made a declaration that from this point forward, I'm going to spend the rest of my life having as much fun as possible, hanging out with positive and uplifting people who are making a positive impact on the planet. Those words just blew out of my mouth, like I had been practicing it. And after I said it, my imposter syndrome showed up. Who do you think you are? That's so shallow. Those were the words that came up in my head. But I just kept going because I was hosting an event, so I had to keep going. Well, after the event was done, about 50% of the room came up to me and said, I love that. I love your mission, And so they all started adopting it. And so it was cool, because here I was thinking it was shallow and there was no reason to say that, but they saw the value and the beauty in it. And so it helped me to I'm declaring this wherever I go. And what's happened is I have attracted those types of people into my life because I made that declaration. And it's been an incredible shift in my life, for sure.
I love that. You put it out to the universe and you're reaping the benefits because it's like
Yeah.
tenfold plus coming
Yes.
back.
Big time. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Lynda. So thank you so much for this interview. Do you have any last thoughts that you would want to leave with our audience before we go?
Yeah, the only thing is remember, do it because you're scared. Don't let fear control your life. I was a people pleaser for decades. I have overcome that. I am no longer a people pleaser. And it's because of breaking through those fears, starting to tap into myself, like, who am I and what do I want? What do I want about life? And to really tap into that has helped me to show up authentically, 100%, no matter where I am. And what's cool about that is I've been able to, because I'm no longer a people pleaser, I'm able to say that, you know what, here I am. Love me, leave me, either way, here I am. Accept me as who I am or not. And it's okay because I love who I am. So just get out there and break through those fears and do them because you're scared. See the transformation that comes from that.
Absolutely. And, anyone who knows you, Lynda, can only love you. So
thank you.
You're only going to be attracting.
I don't think that's true, but
it is. Well, at least in my world, it is.
Yes, in my new life. Yes, definitely.
And our bubbles merge together.
Yes.
Our realities. Oh, Lynda. So thank you so much for being on Good Vibes TV and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. And I just hope that people out there who have that story, that passion within them, and they're ready to get it out, or even if they're not ready, but they want to do it, come to Action Takers Publishing, and they can go through the Good Vibes website to get to access your website so that they can get the special 10% off benefit.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Leslie. I appreciate you.
Oh, appreciate you too. Thank you so much. And thank you, Good Vibes viewers, for watching. Remember, go to www.good-vibes.tv to find the link for Action Taker Publishing. You'll see Write a Book, and that'll take you right to Lynda's website. So thank you for watching, and remember to raise your vibe and thrive. Peace out, everyone.